Hi everybody, welcome. It's Dana Lavoie here. In today's video, I am going to be giving you a quick update, what's been going on behind the scenes around here this week, what's coming up next week because it's quite exciting, and then we're going to jump right into Q&A. I've had some wonderful questions come in this week about pre-diabetes, about sugar cravings in the evening, about what to do if you had a bad reaction to taking HRT, some great stuff that I know you're going to be interested in. And please go ahead and put your comments in, your questions in the comments right below this live video, and I will answer them live. You can ask me anything. I'm Dana Lavoie, an acupuncturist and herbalist with over 15 years experience specializing in women's health. And through my website, my blog, and my online programs, I teach women to use customized Chinese herbs supported by the best diet and lifestyle for their hormones to feel amazing during and after menopause. And so let's go ahead and jump right in. So today, behind the scenes around here this week, so earlier today, I did a group coaching call for students inside my online program on using Chinese herbs, and it was so fun. I love diving deep with you one-on-one and really talking about how the herbs that have come up in the program fit together into a program for you, which formula is for, how to fine-tune your dosages, and how to use the add-ons for like extra support for stress or extra support for this or that. We were talking a little bit today about peri-menopause and how something like extreme fatigue that's so bad, you're calling in sick to work, but that comes and goes, that you only get the week before your period, how that is actually part of perimenopausal PMS, and that kind of fatigue is caused as much by an energy traffic jam as by low energy. So it was such a fun conversation. I love doing that. And then after that, I spent the afternoon creating the slide presentations, part of the slide presentation for the workshop course I'm teaching online next week, which is a 3-day health reset. And I was doing the meal plans. So when you're getting off that sugar train and you just need to know what to eat because all you want is cookies, I have these 3 different meal plans for 3 completely different styles of people who like to do this sort of cleanse completely differently because we are not all the same. And I'm so excited to offer these as options because sugar can be so addictive, and sometimes you really need some techniques for making getting off of it easier. So that workshop is going to be live next week. And if you're interested in learning more about it, just go to my website, danalavoie.com/workshop. All one word, workshop, and I will put that link in the comments below when the live video is over. All right, so, and I also did a little shopping at the health food store this afternoon with my little dog in my backpack, and that was really fun. He loves doing that. He's so quiet, nobody even knows that he's in there. Anyway, so that's the updates from behind the scenes, and now I want to go ahead and dive right into Q&A because we've had some really fun questions. They come in via email and the chat box on my website, and I collect them and I put them here. So let me get those up on the screen for you. Okay. So this was a great one, totally a great one. And I see that I did kind of a white on white thing here. That probably wasn't the smartest thing that I ever did. We might actually be better off. I think I can. Sorry guys, I'm still getting the hang of all this computer stuff. There we go. Now you should be able to read that. Okay, so I'm going to put the questions that I'm going to be answering on the screen. So how can I stop sugar cravings that happen mostly in the evening? Okay, I love this question. This is such a good question. I have such a good answer for you on this. Cravings that are happening in the evening, sugar cravings, or just when in the evening you're just like eating and snacking, and that's when all your snacking happens. Okay, so when you're having that kind of craving and hunger in the evenings, it's because of what you did earlier in the day. And the solution to it happens earlier in the day. You are not eating enough earlier in the day. The solution to this is to eat more for breakfast, more in the mid-morning, more at lunch, vegetables, healthy fats, and proteins. Get it in there, okay? Get it in there a lot more proactively. Sometimes in the morning you're like, ooh, I think I could get by with like a little tiny diet meal, and then I'm just going to be really good and have this little quick diet smoothie for lunch, and I'm working all afternoon, and then it's like you're just starving in the evening time. Okay, so that is my answer for you. And my workshop that I'm teaching next week is all about sugar cravings and how to get ahead of them, how to get rid of them. I've got so many solutions for you. But so definitely check out that danalavoislac.com/workshop to learn more about joining me on the workshop. But for the cravings that happen in the evening, the key is to eat more healthy fat earlier in the day. That is my quick piece of advice for you. Okay, next question. Let me grab this one over. Oh, I X'd out the wrong. Okay, sorry guys, let me just 1 second here. There we go. And we're gonna put that over. Okay, so hopefully you can see most of that. So this is someone who says, my last medical exam showed that I was pre-diabetic and I need to change that right away. So she had eliminated all dairy, peanuts, eggs, things she found out she was allergic to. Cholesterol went great. It went back to normal. So that is one really important point, you guys. If you can eliminate from your diet foods that you are sensitive or allergic to, inflammation throughout your whole body is going to be so much healthier, and things like cholesterol respond really, really well to that. But this wasn't quite enough to be a full solution. So I'm also estrogen dominant. Don't eat meat for a long time, no fish for a long time. I had my last period a number of years ago. So this is someone who's in post-menopause. And I love what she says here, that I'm also estrogen dominant, because yes, you can still have symptoms of estrogen dominance even after menopause, even 5 years after your last period, because you can have symptoms of estrogen dominance anytime estrogen is too high relative to progesterone. Even if they're both really, really low, you can still get all those yucky symptoms of estrogen dominance. So the key for this, things that I would look for you would be to help balance the estrogen and progesterone. You want to go ahead and get superfoods and herbs that can nourish and help your body make more progesterone. You really want to make sure that you're managing stress hormone levels, which you can do with meditation, but which you can also do with herbs. And then you want to make sure that you are detoxifying estrogen really well. Now, obviously for you, liver function has improved quite a bit with your cholesterol getting so much better, but you want to maybe support it even a little bit more. Estrogen detoxification, the liver is really important, hydration is really important, bowel movements are really important, gut function is important, and there are certain foods like cruciferous vegetables and broccoli sprouts and things that support not just phase 1 but phase 2 detoxification in the liver that are really beneficial for this. So you're on the right track, doing things that are decreasing inflammation throughout your whole body. And some specific things to look for. Make sure you're not constipated, and really think about the cruciferous vegetables, things like broccoli sprouts, and things that support your liver function. Okay, and in terms of being pre-diabetic, I mean, there's eating a low sugar diet, and then there's eating a really low glycemic diet. And that really means for you, if you're very sensitive to sugar, if you already have insulin resistance, it really means not eating a lot of sugar, even the sugars found in fruits and the sugars found in grains, and the hidden sugars, the little bits that they put in ketchup and mustard and mayo and everything else. It really means ferreting out all those places where sugar is sneaking into your diet and really cutting down on that for months to reset that insulin resistance. It's about becoming really vigilant about sugar and where it's hiding, and even things like I said, fruit and some grains that might be really healthy for some people might be too sugary for you right now, for a little while until that gets reset. So those are definitely things to look at. In my last blog post, which went live last week, it's got chocolate cupcakes on the thumbnail image. I talk about there is a link in that blog post to an article online by Dr. Christiane Northrup where she lists all the lab tests you can do to see if you are insulin resistant. And you can monitor how you're doing that way. She talks about how you can test your blood sugar at home, the different types of lab tests you can have. So to really learn where is your blood sugar at, and then you can experiment with your diet and find out what do you need to do to get it where it needs to be. I got another email today from someone who said that she has been sugar-free for, I think she said over 8 months, and she is having no menopause symptoms, and she's right in the heart of menopause. So really getting that sugar in a great place is so important. And so check out that blog post and the link to the tests and look at what might be sources of high glycemic foods in your diet, even if you don't typically think of them as sugars. Okay, so that is that question. Let's see what's next. All right. I hope to find alternative ways for menopause to deal with menopause symptoms. I'm unable to take HRT as it gave me adverse side effects. So this is something I have heard often. And everybody, just so you know, you can absolutely put your questions in the comments below the video, and I will get to them on this live video. I'm so happy to answer your questions. Plus, feel free to pop in and just say hi. All right, so I have had so many women come to me who have had, the same exact issue where they've had side effects from hormone replacement therapy. It's quite common. And there's a couple of things going on with this that I want to talk about. So the first one is what's happening is you're taking the hormones, right? Your body probably needs them. You're probably low on some of those hormones, but you take them, you put them in your body, whether it's a cream or oral or whatever. And instead of your body being like, oh, great, I can use that. I know how to use that. Your body cannot process the hormones correctly. It can't transform them into the active form of the hormone that it needs. It can't send those hormones to the right places, and it can't get rid of and detoxify any little extra bit that you might have taken in. And there's also other reasons that these hormones can get sort of jammed up trying to get to where they need to be. One of the things that I'm going to be talking about in my workshop next week is hormone disruptors, right? So hormones are the body's messengers. Hormones, they go out, they go to a cell, they land in a receptor on the cell, and they give the cell instructions like, hey, cell, do this right now. And so they are the body's messengers, and they control pretty much every physiological function that happens in our bodies. Now, your endocrine system, right? Your endocrine system is in charge of sending out those hormonal messages at the right times, right? So your endocrine system monitors what's going on, and it says, oh, look, progesterone is getting a little low. Let's send out a hormone messenger to go tell that cell to make more progesterone. Okay, so the endocrine system tells the hormones to go. It sends the right messages at the right times. The hormones deliver the messages. Well, endocrine disruptors can do things like this. The little receptor on the outside of the cell, think of it like a mailbox, the cell's mailbox, right? It's sitting there at the end of the drive. Well, endocrine disruptors are like vandals that come along with a baseball bat and they knock over those mailboxes. So the little hormone, it gets to the right cell and it can't deliver its message. There's no mailbox, right? It cannot deliver the message. The cell does not get the instructions. Nothing happens. That's an endocrine disruptor. So imagine your body trying to tell your hormones what to do when there are these vandals interrupting the messages that it's sending out, okay? And there's other things that can happen too, like say the message gets there and the cell can't follow the directions because it's saying, well, make more of this hormone, but it doesn't have the building blocks it needs to make that hormone. That can happen too. But anyway, like I said, in my workshop course next week, I'm danalavoislac.com/workshop. I'm going to be talking more about endocrine disruptors. And in my last blog post on my blog, I also talked about probably the biggest endocrine disruptor, bigger than BPA, bigger than phthalates, bigger than, parabens. Not that those aren't significant estrogen disruptors, but the amount to which they actually affect us is probably not as much as sugar, because we're exposed to sugar more generally, and it can be a really big hormone disruptor. Anyway, so back to your question. So you're getting adverse side effects from hormone replacement therapy, because when you take in those hormones, there's some kind of traffic jam in your endocrine system that doesn't allow your body to process those hormones correctly. So there's two things I would recommend to you. One is absolutely find alternatives to hormone replacement therapy that will give you the relief that you need. I had a client not too long ago who had this exact same thing. She had a really bad reaction to HRT. It was lowest dose. It was really well prescribed, but she just gained all this weight, and it took months and months to lose it. She just hated the whole experience. She said, I will never do that again. She's been taking herbs for a month now. For months. She's gotten great results, and she's had zero side effects from the herbs. So I find, customized Chinese herbs, right, are going to be the next best thing in terms of giving you a big and fast result for hormonal discomforts, right? Other than hormone replacement therapy. They're so targeted, they're so powerful, they're so customized for exactly what symptoms and discomforts you're experiencing. So I would definitely recommend that you consider using them. And you can learn a lot more about how they work on the free download that you can get on my website, danalavoislac.com. Right on the front page, you can download these two free guides, and one of them is called Get Out of Menopause Overwhelm in 4 Steps. And I talk quite a bit about how the herbs work and how you would go about getting started with the herbs in that guide. So if you're interested in that, definitely check that out. But the other thing I want to talk to you about a little bit is this traffic jam that seems to be happening in your system, because that is a sign that it would be nice to get rid of that traffic jam, okay? Because it would be healthier for you overall to get rid of that traffic jam. And that's another thing that I love about Chinese herbs is when they are prescribed for menopause, they are not only to help with hot flashes. They are going to look at your whole endocrine system and how your hormones are working and make sure every little part of the process is flowing freely. So they are going to both do what the hormones do in terms of giving your body, the stuff to make more hormones, but it's also going to help your body know what to do with those hormones and be able to do it. I talk in my free masterclass on herbs about the 3 categories of herbal remedies used for menopause. One is like hormone replacement therapy. It's to help your body bring up hormone levels that are low. And then another one is to know what to do with those hormones, right? To send out those right signals at the right times. And then another is to make sure that if you get a little too much of one of the hormones in your body, that you can detoxify it and get rid of it. And there's also there's all these different kinds of estrogen, right? And you want a certain kind and not too much of another kind. And so if you get really stressed or those messages aren't going out correctly, your body can end up making too much of the bad kind and not enough of the good kind. And so that is something that the herbs can help with as well. Detoxifying the types of estrogen that can be dangerous, that can cause estrogen dominance, that might lead towards something like a cancer, and helping your body make more of the kinds of estrogen that are just really moisturizing and great for, lubrication and that are really safe. So that is what I would look at for you, right? The herbs are going to help with your liver function, which is part of detoxification of those hormones. So definitely look for things that are going to help you get relief without hormone replacement therapy, because I don't recommend that you take it while you're having a bad reaction to it for sure. But then also look at things, and again, Chinese herbs are my favorite, that are going to help your body get rid of that hormonal traffic jam. And what happens is after doing this for a while, after being on the herbs, after being on a great diet for a while, if you need to take the hormone replacement therapy, you'll probably tolerate it with a lot less side effects. Not that you necessarily will, but just so you know, that's always a good sign that things are going in the right direction. So I hope that helps answer your question. All right, let's see what's next. Oh yeah, okay, this is a big one. So someone wrote in and said, I just had a full hysterectomy 2 weeks ago, and I'm starting to feel the effects of menopause. I'm unsure about what symptom relief is right for me. My doctor recommends hormone therapy, but I have concerns. So this is called surgical menopause, when you have a hysterectomy and you get, just like thrown into menopause right away. It can be extreme, it can be severe, it can be quite uncomfortable. So hang in there. There is a lot you can do, so much you can do to ease the transition and just get into a really great feeling place as quickly as possible. Okay, so hormone replacement therapy is definitely a possibility. This is a time when it can, if you take it for a little while, it can help to kind of ease you through the transition. It's not like I'm against it or anything like that. It also really depends if they took out your ovaries at the same time that they took out everything else when they did your hysterectomy, in terms of how severe the hormonal change in your body is about to be. Of course, for me, I love to work with women with Chinese herbs because I find that they are so powerful in terms of controlling what's about to happen, whether it's hot flashes or night sweats. You can kind of get hit with all the most typical symptoms of menopause right away. And they are the most powerful tool that I know of that's just all natural to control them. And it's the kind of thing where, you take certain herbs for, a couple of months, and then you have to change them and change them and change them. You're going to need to keep adjusting your formulas because your hormones are going to be changing really fast for a little while. And you just kind of do what you need to do to control all the discomforts as they come up. And then in a few months, things will stabilize. You'll start to feel more comfortable, and then your focus will be more just on helping your body to continue to make hormones, because your body can still make hormones. Your adrenal glands can take over for your ovaries. There are other glands in your body that can help you to still make hormones. Or even if you decide to take a little bit of hormone replacement therapy, the herbs can really help your body, like I say, know what to do with those hormones, detoxify hormones really well, improve liver function, support liver function, all these wonderful things. So you might want to definitely head on over to my website, danalavoielac.com, and there's 2 free guides you can download right on the front page. And if you get those 2, take a little time to work through them, to do the steps, to do the exercises. You'll really start to get a sense of how you can feed your body everything it needs to stay in a good place with your hormones as you go through this transition. And if you want something besides hormone replacement therapy, I highly recommend Chinese herbs as a way to help control what might be coming. And if you decide to do the hormone replacement therapy, I actually recommend doing the herbs with it, because it'll help you to tolerate it. I feel like it reduces risks and side effects. And so there are so many good options, and you can just get to a great place with your hormones. Don't get discouraged if it's tough for a few weeks, because your body's about to go through a little bit of a shock in terms of big hormonal change because of surgery. So hang in there, and please come in my private Facebook group if you're not already there, Menopause Made Easy, for support. There's other women in there who have been through the same thing, and I'm in there, and we would love to help give you some support and help you figure out what you're going through as you go through these next few weeks. So I'm really glad that you wrote in with that question. All right, let's see. Oh, yes. Okay, so here's another one. I'm not sure this whole thing is going to fit on the little picture here. Oop. But anyway, I hope you can read most of that. So this is one of those ones about vaginal dryness, and I get this question a lot. It's so uncomfortable. It's hard to talk about, right? We need to be talking about this because there are solutions and we need to be sharing this information. So this is someone who has really been struggling with vaginal pain and painful urination. And it really severely. And the doctor gave her some vaginal suppositories, which had a little tiny bit of estrogen in them. And I've got to say that topical estrogen in this situation that gets the estrogen receptors on the local tissues going, this is not a bad option, right? This is not a bad option at all. You can do it with a hormone cream. You can do it with natural plant phytoestrogens. Livinglibations.com has some wonderful products, completely natural, that have like essential oils and herbs in them that are phytoestrogen rich. Christiane Northrup Amada has a cream that has a phytoestrogen from this one particular plant in it. And then there is the Dr. Anna Kabeka Julva cream, which has actual DHEA in it, which is a hormone precursor. So all these different things are going to naturally stimulate the estrogen receptors on the local tissues, and they're all good options. There is also an interview on my blog with a sex expert, Jane Steckbeck, and I highly recommend that you check that out. And this woman had read that because she was asking me about one of the techniques that Jane talked about. So when you're having this kind of situation with vaginal dryness, there is a two-pronged approach that I recommend you take. One is from the outside in with moisturizers and lubricants and, estrogen or phytoestrogen rich creams that you can put on from the outside. And the other is from the inside out, and that is with, well, my favorite is Chinese herbs, and I want to tell you a story about that in just a minute, to help your body plump up those tissues and moisturize those tissues from the inside. So this person was saying she watched the interview with Jane Steckbeck, and she had a question because Jane recommends two things. You use like a lubricant, like a really nice aloe vera based lubricant when you need it for intercourse or whatever, but you also want to use a moisturizer, and that's more like a hand cream. It's not something you use as needed. It's something you put on every day, twice a day, to help moisturize those tissues. And you can use it internally, right? You can use a little applicator to put it up deeper inside, or you can use a suppository, a vaginal suppository, and you just use it proactively to moisturize those tissues, and then you would use a lubricant in addition. And in terms of getting the exact one that she mentioned overseas, I'm not sure about that, but you will just have to look locally or use a pure aloe vera gel. But also coconut oil is an absolutely great thing to use as a vaginal moisturizer suppository. You can melt it, you can put in some phytoestrogen rich, very diluted, like essential oils or herbs, and then you can put it in little molds. You can make them out of aluminum foil even. Chill it or freeze it, and then it becomes solid. You can insert it, and at body temperature, it will melt and slowly over time moisturize everything. So that is really a great option that you could do at home. I'm sure you could get the ingredients locally, even overseas. So I wanted to tell you about that. Okay. And so coconut oil and aloe are my two favorite base formulas for lubricants and suppositories. And of course, coconut oil is not latex friendly. So if you're using it with condoms, don't use coconut oil at the same time. Okay, let's see what else we got. Let me see if there are any other questions. I want to go over to my Facebook group and just check the comments there because sometimes they don't show up in the exact same place. But for anyone who's on live, do you guys have any questions? Go ahead and type them into the comments right now so I will see them and be able to answer them for you. Let me just double check if there's any last comments. Okay, I think I have answered all the questions that came in this week. My name is Dana Lavoie. I am here pretty much every Wednesday at 5:15 p.m. Pacific time, that's Los Angeles time, to answer the questions that have come in during the week and give you a little update on what's going on and connect with you. I am an acupuncturist and herbalist. I've been specializing in women's health in my private practice for over 15 years. And through my blog, my website, and my online programs, I teach women to use customized Chinese herbs supported by the best diet and lifestyle for their hormones to feel amazing during and after menopause. And you guys, I just remembered that I was going to tell you a little story and I completely forgot about it. So I'm going to go back and do that just before I close everything out. So I wanted to tell you a story about the first client that I ever treated who had recurrent urinary tract infections. So this is something that can happen with menopause or after menopause. What happens is your hormone levels decline, and the hormones, the female juicy estrogen-like hormones that are plumping up your vaginal tissues, they decline and your tissues get less plump. So where you have got your, your urethra opening into the outside world, when the tissues were really plump, they kind of covered that opening when you weren't urinating. But now that the tissues are kind of, they're kind of the difference between a peach and a raisin, right? So they're kind of wrinkly and they're not as plump. So it's a lot easier for things to get into that opening like bacteria. That's what happens. That's why you can get these recurrent urinary tract infections. So ideally, you want to do something from the inside to help your body increase those hormone levels just enough to plump things up on the inside to protect that area. And so when the first time a woman came to me with this, she had just been having a terrible time. She had had a urinary tract infection, gone on antibiotics. It had gotten better. And then like 6 weeks later, she got another urinary tract infection. She went on antibiotics. It got better. And then she got another urinary tract infection. This had been going on for like 4 months, one after another. She didn't like taking antibiotics at all, and yet she'd been on them multiple times in a row. She was in this vicious cycle. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't imagine living the rest of her life like this. So I was not sure how much I would be able to help her, but I was really excited to try. So I have a two-pronged approach for situations like this. Of course, she was already on a good diet, so that was fantastic. But I put her on a formula to help the body make more specifically of the hormones, the female hormones that help to plump up those tissues from the inside out. And she was postmenopausal. So I knew it was going to take a while for those herbs to work, because it does take a little while to build that kind of thing up. So I also put her on some herbs which are for urinary tract infections, so to kind of prevent reinfection, a low dose of that. And I said, I want you to take these infection preventing herbs for the first 3 to 6 months while the other herbs are getting in your system and plumping things up. And it worked like a charm. She did not get another infection. And after a few months, we started weaning her off the infection herbs, just leaving her on the ones that tonify the watery essence, the yin, to help plump things up. And after a while, that's all she needed. And it totally worked. She wasn't getting the infections anymore. So I'm not saying that it had, the exact same effect. We didn't do lab work. We didn't look and see if her hormone levels had changed or how much, but it was enough that functionally her body now had that plumpness. And the thing about that is, not only did she get rid of the urinary tract infections, which was amazing, but if your body has enough hormones functionally to do something like that, it also means it has more of that critical level of hormones that it needs post-menopause to keep your heart healthy, to keep your brain healthy, and to keep your bones strong, and to let you continue to have a good amount of muscle mass, right? And a good libido. So I love that the herbs, on a functional level, in a way I can see the difference in how women feel, can help so much to keep those hormone levels at a high, healthy level post-menopause, to ease a number of discomforts, one of them being vaginal dryness. I just don't find that the topical estrogens and the topical moisturizers and the topical lubricants give as complete as a solution as you get when you combine the internal and the external. Okay, so that was the story I forgot about and wanted to share with you guys. And if you are interested in learning more, there is actually, I think it's 4 blog articles. There's a whole series of articles on my blog called Great Sex After 50. One of them is that interview I told you about with Jane Steckbeck, who is the sex expert, and she's absolutely fantastic. And we had such a good time when she came on to be interviewed. And then the other articles talk about all the topical external formulations you can use. One of them talks about the internal sort of ways you can plump from the inside out. And it's a really fun series of articles, and it's something that we don't talk about enough. So that's over on my blog, danalavoislac.com. Just go to the blog and you will find those articles there. And I will be back next week on Wednesday at 5:15 p.m. Pacific time to answer more questions. So let me just check one more time. Is there anyone here on the video live with me that has a last question before I close things down? I'm just going to check one more time in the group here, because those comments don't always pop up for me automatically, and I want to make sure. All right, I think I have answered all the questions. So you guys, I can't wait to see you back here next week. Be sure and check out the information and think about joining me on the workshop class that I'm teaching next week. danalavoislac.com/workshop. And it is going to teach you how to do a health reset. You can do it in 1 day, 2 days, or 3 days, depending on how much you need. It's perfect for the new year. It's perfect for post-holiday. It's perfect for after you've overindulged in sugar or alcohol or carbs, but it's also great to do anytime you just need to get back to your very, very best. And it is a way that you can get off of sugar as painlessly as possible. This is something I've really struggled with myself over the years, and I have some amazing strategies that I can't wait to share with you. I've never taught this before. So check that out at danalavoislac.com/workshop. And I will see you soon. You can send your questions to me on Facebook. You can send them to me by email. I collect them all up and I answer them every week. So you guys have a great night, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.